I have 3 chef knives here. One is even in ZDP 189 at 67 HRC, and we are going to sharpen all 3 of them up really quickly. I'm going to show you how fast you can sharpen up some of your kitchen knives, and these are extremely dull. So these are, yeah, when we're done with them though, these things are going to be absolutely scary sharp. Is we have some of the best sharpening stones on the planet that we are going to be using. So let's start off with the 100 grit. One thing you want to do with a chef knife in particular, you don't want to hold the handle and sharpen. You actually want to pinch all the way up on the blade, kind of like you would chopping fruits and vegetables and stuff. Get that nice little pinch going right there, because that's going to give you the most amount of control. And with this thumb, you can apply a little bit of pressure. Not a lot of pressure, just a few pounds, like 5 pounds of pressure or so. Really, it doesn't matter how much pressure you put, as long as you can hold the angle. But what you want to do is, if you're holding the knife straight up and down, just like that, that would be 90 degrees. That would be flat on its back. Split that in half, right? So the halfway point between straight up and down and all the way flat is about right there. That's typically a good angle for a kitchen knife. And then once we have that angle, and I'm happy with that angle, I'll make sure I pinch up on that knife, get all the control I can back here on the heel. That's where I'm going to start on the stone. And as I come across the stone, I'm going to lock, well, as soon as I find my angle, I'm going to lock my forearm. So the only thing that's going to move is my elbow and my shoulder, but not this. So lock that in as soon as I find that angle. I got it locked in. So now I'm going to lock it in, and I'm not going to move it at all. I'm going to keep it right there. I'm going to pull towards me, and I'm just going to use my elbow to lift up and then go back. So I can go back and forth just like this. Now you can do single passes too. As long as you're not moving your forearm or your wrist, you will be just fine. But you can stay on the stone if you want. And then I'm not applying any pressure with these fingers. I'm only using it basically as like an angle indicator. It's basically just floating right through my fingers, and we already have a burr. Look at that. Then once we get to this side, once we have a burr on this side, you can feel that metal wire folded over from sharpening this side, which the wire will be on the opposite side you were sharpening. Then you want to, now this direction, you're gonna have to hold the handle, but you can choke up and use your thumb like that to hold, to make sure you're kind of getting the stabilization out of your pointer finger. And then same thing. And this way, I'm gonna lean in and lean back, lean in and lean back. And as I'm leaning, I'm just barely lifting my elbow. And now I can kind of do the hip turn if I want to, like this. That also works really well. You can go straight back and forth. Lots of different ways to do it. Different ways to skin a cat, so to speak. And oh yeah, that bevel looks great. A little bit bigger than that side, so might have to even that up a little bit. There we go. Now, ready for the next stone. And right here, by the way, this is dish soap and water right here. So it's literally just liquid dish soap and water. That's all it is. So now that I'm on the second stone, this is a 285. The first stone was a 100 grit. Like I said, this can go incredibly fast if you can hold your forearm locked in place, because you don't have to worry about losing the angle as long as you're locked in. And then here, I'm just doing, when When I get a burr on one side, I like to flip it over by doing a reverse pass. It gets the burr out of the way and it prevents me from just ripping it off. I like my burr to naturally pop off or slowly diminish, because the burr removal process is one of the most important parts to getting a quality sharp edge. So you have to make sure that not only are you developing a good burr, which is the steel that builds up at the very apex every time you finish one side. So you want to make sure that develops. That tells you that you hit the apex, and then in the end, you're gonna basically snap it off. It's like a very thin wire that's hanging on the apex, and you're gonna bend it back and forth until it snaps off, kind of like bending a paperclip back and forth. And then when that snaps off, that's when you reveal a very sharp edge. So you have to know that about sharpening. And then we are ready for the next one. And then this one is a 650. I don't need to go any higher than this. I could if I want to. I could go all the way up to 5,000 grit if I wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary with these knives. And if I wasn't talking and recording, I'd already be done by now. So just know this literally takes just a few minutes, and this is a full sharpening right here. It's not like this is a, you know, just a touch up. I could do a touch up in about 6 seconds, so. And now this was me doing my burr removal. So what I do is when I'm on my last stone and it's my last burr, I'll basically do a stropping pass, very gentle, no pressure. I'm just letting the burr hit the stone and letting my basically just the weight of the blade kind of push against the stone, allowing the burr to flip back and forth, back and forth. And then I want to do some forward passes, very gentle. Once again, you do not need pressure with this. And then your burr should be gone. And then you just got to strop. Got a little tiny bit more. Sometimes I like to remove my burr on a finer stone. I find that can lead to really good results. Without stropping, look at that. I haven't even stropped yet, so. And what did that take? Took a couple minutes. There's no reason for anybody to have dull knives, man. No reason. If you got a dull knife, it's from pure laziness, and that's it. Again, same thing. Pinch up on the knife, find your angle. Like I said, split it halfway point, about right there, maybe a little bit lower. If you want it extra slicey, the closer your spine is to the stone, the longer it will take to sharpen. But the sharper the edge will be. The higher the angle, the less sharp it will be, but it'll be a lot tougher. So depending on what you're doing with the knife, typically chef knife people want pretty damn sharp, but you still want to preserve some toughness. Like I said, no pressure with these fingers. The weight of my fingers is all it needs, and it can concentrate pressure on a specific area. If you apply pressure, it will make your edge turn into a wave. Meaning with these fingers right here. So I'm just leaning in and out. I do this back and forth. I'm like literally doing like a leaning in and out. And then with this, I do the hip turn. Because I'm locked in, right? I'm locking my arms in, and I'm just basically just rotating my hips. Or I could lean in and out like this. And when you do that, it kind of gets the blade shape by itself, as long as there's not like a ton of belly. We're looking beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. All right, 285. Just dropped off the 100. Now we are at the 285. And you guys see this stuff. Move the damn camera around a little bit more. Get that bright white paper towel away from you. There we go. Now I'm not moving my body, I'm only moving my arms. So you can do that as well. Just whatever you can do where you can maintain locking in place. If you can do it while moving your elbows and your shoulders, that's fine. Just don't move your wrist or your forearm, because that's where your angle is. And voila, we are to the 650 now. Oh shit. Damn. I don't even remember getting cut. Huh. Interesting. Anyways, so the burr was a little bit large, so I just did a little burr flip action. Flip that burr, repeat. Then check the burr. And now we're gonna do the burr remove, but this time I'm gonna do my burr removal on my 5,000. I think this, or no, sorry, this is a 3,000. So I'm just gonna do the reverse passes, like I said, kind of like stropping, no pressure, very gentle, and then forward passes. I'm doing the rapid motions because, like I said, there's no pressure. It's just the weight of the knife. Because like I said, the burr is very gentle. In many cases, you can pop it off with your own fingers. In many cases, you can't. But I'm saying there are times where it's so brittle that you can. So it doesn't take much effort as long as your edge is touching that stone. And again, razor Ramon sharp. Look at that. Very, very sharp. And then we got one more. And this one is the one with the hardest steel. So this one would be the ZDP 189 65 to 67 HRC, but this is gonna go really fast. This one has the potential to get even sharper than these ones. These ones are basically like a 10 CR Damascus. As you can see, kind of like a San Mai. It's like a 10 CR core. Can't remember if it's a 9 CR or 10 CR, but they're pretty similar. This one I can feel is harder though. Just by touching like those, I can feel the stone really grinding into this. This one feels a little bit more like glass, which is good. Great feeling. Like I said, nice choke up spot. Get rid of your blood. Nice little choke up spot. Nice little pinch. Find your angle. Settle in, and then start leaning in or out, or using your elbow and your shoulder to draw in towards you while barely lifting your elbow up. Like I'm literally lifting up my elbow this much. Like it's just, that's it. So I'm pulling straight back towards me and just barely lifting. I have to do that to get the blade shape so I can get all the way to the tip. Hear that burr. One cool thing about these really hard steels is, man, they can get so sharp. Especially if they have a little toughness. This type of steel doesn't have a lot of toughness, but it makes up with it with hardness, so it has the potential to get incredibly sharp. Very, very sharp. Hopefully this lighting's okay. Kind of winging this video a little bit with you guys. I needed to do some sharpening, so I figured I'd toss the old camera on. Woo, you hear that burr? You can just hear it. Like, see, hear that? That's that burr, because the metal wire, because I was sharpening this side, it was on this side. Now it's pretty much flipped over and gone. And now I can work on this side and it's out of the way. And then that was 285. Now we're to 650. We're done. I could go up higher, you know, like I was saying, but I don't need to. 650 is a great finishing or great edge for kitchen knife use. Even the 1500 I could go up to. That also would be really good. And look at that. That was in real time. All right. The burr already snapped off. That's another good thing about the harder steels. You're way more likely your burr is just going to come off very easily. I'm still going to do a burr removal just to ensure that it's gone. So it's doing these very gentle reverse passes. And then the fast forward, very light, gentle strokes. You don't have to go fast. You can go slow, but the point is gentle, no pressure, because I'm not trying to disturb my scratches or my edge. I'm just trying to let that burr snag the stone and pop off. Whew, yeah, that one's real sharp. Look at that. Remember, a knife that can cut this cleanly through paper towel is hair whittling. That is very hair whittling. Wow. Beautiful edge too. Looks really good. So, look at that. What's your excuse? What's your excuse for not knowing how to sharpen? All right, guys, just to show you after the strop. So this is 1/2 micron stroppy stuff. You can find it on Neeves Knife Co. You don't need to add much pressure with this. You know, a little bit, but not a lot. It's more of a gentle pressure because you don't want to indent the leather with the edge. That can round your apex more than you would want. So nice and gentle passes, but make sure you go from tip to heel, otherwise you will cut into the leather. So I'm not making a mess with paper all over. No, then I did that. You can see how damn sharp these are. The paper towel is much more difficult than paper, but so most people that know sharpening know that, but for those that don't, you know, there you can see it going through paper. You can see those are incredibly sharp edges and are perfect for cooking now. So I'm gonna wash them and then let them dry and start using them again. Bang! Nobody needs my very, very expensive stones to do what I just did. You could literally get a 2 stones from Sharpening. All right, I'll link them down in the description. I have sharpening supplies all down there. You don't have to get my sharpening supplies from my site, but there's links down there to other sites where you can get diamond plates. You can get double-sided diamond plates. You can get literally an angle guide, a base, and a stone for really, really affordable. And that's literally all you need. You know, then a strop. You know, it'd be nice if you had a ceramic rod or a ceramic of some sort. So 2 diamond plates, a ceramic, and a strop. I mean, it's a great investment to not have to worry about having dull edges. These suckers are sharp, man. And that's so fast. Anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Till next time. Peace.